If you are someone that suffers with man boobs, this is the video for you. We're going to deep dive into it and break down all the ways that you can improve it and also the scenarios where you may need to actually seek interventions. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the question. So the question is, I've got man boobs and I hate it. It's visible when wearing shirts and it does mess with my confidence. I'm 29 years old, around 80 kg and 5'10". I've been doing cardio a couple months and trying to eat a bit cleaner, but it's like it's still there. Is there anything that actually works to get rid of them, or am I stuck like this? Thanks. Firstly, thank you for sending the question. Anybody else has similar questions, be sure to hit me up on Instagram. That is where I typically get all of these from. Now, as for the questions, let's break it down. And if you enjoy these Q&A videos lately, please hit the video with a thumbs up so I know to do more. So the first thing you need to do before you even can move forward with any steps is analyze and find out what form of man boobs do you have. And by that I mean, is it like just a really sunken in, saggy, flabby chest? Or is it literally like bodies of like clumpy fat tissues? You can actually feel it, like almost a handful. Because if you're in the realm where it's like actual fatty tissue, like you can actually grab hold of chunks of it, the chances are there that you got to probably speak to your doctors. But thankfully for most of you out there, it's probably not going to be that. It's things that you can probably actually improve in regards to your training and your diet to help reduce it dramatically. And that is what we're going to go through right now. But the first thing I want to definitely put on a platter for you is the number one thing that will not work. And that is you following any person or routine online that speaks about chest burning exercises or chest burning foods or chest burning drinks. All of those things are gimmicks and are not real. If you follow and support anybody that's giving out that sort of advice, that's telling you can just burn the fat in just your chest area, they're chatting crap. The only thing that can lose fat in one particular area is basically like lipo, when you suck it out. In regards to actual natural ways to improve it, those things, they're a gimmick. So those are things you cannot do. So let's move on to what you actually can implement to actually see progress. So the first thing you need to understand is that in regards to improving your chest area from the man boobs, you need to work from two fronts, and that means building muscle and also losing fat. So we talk about building the muscle first. You're probably asking, why do I need to do that? The reason why you need to do that is because the more muscle you build on the chest, the more improved it will look. For example, if you have a very, very sunken in flabby chest, the fat sticks out a lot. Whereas the more muscle you build in the area, the more it's likely to look better. So to illustrate this, I've got this example on screen here. As you can see here, this guy here has man boobs. He's also overweight in general, which makes his solution a little bit easier because if you reduce the fat, it's going to improve. But if you just look at the titty section alone, it's very man boobish. It's very meaty and it stands out a lot. Now we have him here after building muscle and losing down some of the fat. But as you can clearly see, him adding muscle on that chest as well as obviously losing the weight has helped it fill out a lot more, so he looks much less prominent. Now, is there still a little bit left underneath? Yes, but it's like night and day. You can see the difference, which is why the very first tip I'm going to give you guys is training your chest twice a week and making sure to hit it from various angles. So you want to do your flies, you want to do your chest presses, inclines, flat bench, all of those things. Get a proper structure created. If you don't have one, there's many you can find online. If you need one, I can create you a custom routine myself if you like. But in general, you need to get on a proper weightlifting program and making sure you're hitting your chest twice per week. The one thing I'll definitely say I would not recommend is doing decline bench. I feel like the last thing you need if you're in the position of the left is more muscle tissue or any tissue at all at the bottom, because even if it is muscle, if you're building muscle and making your lower chest protrude even more, it's just going to make it harder to kind of balance it out. The areas that you want to more focus on is the flat and the incline, because you want to have more of your upper chest looking more pronounced so he looks less sunken in and dipped in. If you look at his chest, you can see that because it looks more fuller, it looks less like man boobs. Next up on the chopping block to improve this, I would say make sure you're training your back effectively. You want to make sure you are building a nice strong back, and especially the rear delts. A lot of people neglect rear delts when it comes to most exercises. They'll talk about the front delts, talk about the side delts, but they rarely train the rear delts. The reason why the rear delts is good is because one, this will help improve your posture, because the more you build a nice strong back, it stops you from having that kind of protruding forward thing. Because many of us from like obviously school, maybe office jobs, we're often in the position like this, which causes us to like naturally protrude forward. The more you train your back, especially the rear delts, it can help improve your posture by helping pull you back and opens up your chest a lot more. This alone, like this is almost an instant trick. Improving your posture is going to rapidly make you look better, because if you're someone that's naturally sort of hunched, it makes your chest look worse. It's going to look more squishy and just squished together. posture, it's not going to look nice. Whereas if you instantly actually improve your posture, pin your shoulders a bit more, have your chest up, because your gait is now more open, you're going to have more of a wider looking chest, which is going to make it look less squishy and less jiggly in general. So even though this is an instant tip that can actually help your appearance look better, especially when in shirts, it's obviously not foolproof. You have to do the other things I'm going to mention too. But if you're looking for like a quick solution to slightly make it look better, look at your posture when you look in the mirror. Are you naturally kind of slumped forward? If you can try and learn to have better posture, and obviously if you're training your muscles in the back as well, they will help you do it more naturally as well. These are definitely going to help your appearance, because in regards to improving the man boobs look, it's not just about actually doing the tangible things, because those are important, like training and potentially losing fat. So in essence, without going overboard, basically start training your back so it naturally makes you open up your chest when you're walking and you're sitting and standing in general, so your chest looks less squished, therefore looking less man booby. That is a very simple instant tip that you can actually do from today. The next exercise I'd recommend is doing push-ups almost daily, because they're a nice bodyweight exercise that you can almost do anywhere. You haven't got to rely on going to the gym. It's something you can just wake up and do it in the morning. I would say doing 2 to 3 sets of push-ups every single day, and if possible, try and do it on a incline, which just means having your feet on like the chair or sofa or something, because then it helps you kind of work your upper chest a bit more. But in general, just even flat push-ups is fine. Do around 2 to 3 sets each night. Ideally aim for like 12 reps, but in general, it will depend based on your strength level. If you can, for example, only do 6 push-ups, then aim to do 2 or 3 sets of 6 push-ups and take it from there as you progress. This is a nice, simple way to activate your chest muscles every single day, rather than having to wait for your gym sessions. And in regards to those 2 chest sessions I said before, this should go without saying, but don't have them back to back. Those 2 training sessions of your chest per week, have at least 48 hours in between them so your chest can recover. The push-ups shouldn't really affect them greatly. 2 to 3 sets every single day. Your body will soon get used to it, but it's something good to kind of activate your chest every single day. Next up is the things that a lot of people likely do not want to change much, but in reality, if you want to see the most progress, because you did say that you were struggling and it sounded like you're almost like your wick saying, because you've literally written at the end, or am I stuck like this? The thing that you need to do is improve your diet. You've got to get into a high protein diet, which will help with your training in regards to building muscle on your frame. And also by eating a high protein diet, because it's more filling when it comes to the foods on average, you'll likely probably snack less, and then you'll likely eat junk food less. So try and make home cooked meals for most of your meals. If you're someone that likes a meal out with friends, that's fine, but try only do it like once, maybe twice a week. But realistically, if you can do it once a week as a top, that could be fine. And even in that, try and not go overboard and think, oh, this is a cheat day, and pig out. Having a meal out with friends is perfectly fine. It's just when you go and overindulge. But as a whole, when it comes to most of your daily meals, try and make them nice and high protein. And yeah, ideally try and avoid as much junk food as you can. Same goes for alcohol and things of that nature that just are giving you calories that you don't really need. So when it comes to the calorie deficit, if you're someone that looks like the left picture, then yes, get into a calorie deficit. Because if you've got man boobs, because you're fat all over your body, then yeah, you need to get down the fat, because that will dramatically change it. But there are some people have like more the skinny fat frame, where literally they're not that, like their body weight, if anything, is fairly normal for their height. It's just the fact that their muscle to fat ratio is just way off due to the poor eating habits, the low protein diet, the no resistance training. That has left your body almost like skin, bones, and fat with little muscle tissue on it. So that's something we'll talk about next. But in general, if you're fat, then yeah, get into a calorie deficit. If you're someone that you're somewhat regular weight for your height, you can quickly Google this. I wouldn't personally get into a calorie deficit. I would probably eat around maintenance and just try push the protein and keep up the resistance training, and you'll likely see good progress. If and only if you be consistent with it, training at least 3 to 4 times per week. In your case, if you really want to make it more optimal, I'd probably go with the 4 times per week. And that tip leads into this one, which is avoiding crash diets. I know that sounds obvious, but to many in this realm, to lose these man boobs as soon as possible, they'll do anything. And if someone says online, do like a, I don't know, some crazy diet, you're probably going to do it. The reason why you need to avoid crash diets, which basically dramatically slash your calories, is simply because you'll end up in the position I mentioned previously, which is you'll have the skinny fat frame. If you are someone that is looking to lose man boobs and you don't really have much muscle on your frame and you choose to do a crash diet, all that's going to happen is you will lose fat, but you'll also lose muscle, which means your ratio of fat to muscle is never going to improve. It's just getting worse. All that will happen is you'll start looking skinnier and skinnier, and the stubbornly fat areas will stand out even more and will look worse, because you got to think your chest, if it's really fatty and like saggy, all it's going to do now is look even more sunken in and then stick out around the clump of fat that's still there. So that is something that a lot of people don't realize until it's too late, which is how a lot of people end up skinny fat. So you don't want to end up looking worse and having that skinny fat frame where it's just skin and bones and little pockets of jiggly, you know what I mean, just protruding fat. It is going to make you look worse and probably kill your confidence even more. So these are the things that can really help you improve your muscle to fat ratio and as a whole help you get rid of the moobs, aka man boobs. The key thing I will say as well is that if you are someone and you definitely have the big clumps of fat, you need to go check your hormones because it could be a case of you got way too much estrogen in your body. You know what I mean? There's the joke about having bitch tits from drinking too much soy milk and stuff like that. But in general, the best way to know for sure is go to a doctor. And that's probably the best way to know for sure because there are many people that say they have this when really they've got like a small amount of gyno. Because me personally, I definitely deal with like small amounts of gyno when I'm higher body fats. When I'm lean, it tends to clean up and it tends to go because gyno, there's many forms of it. There's many stages, by the way. I can make a video separate on this. Let me know below if you actually want to see that video. But in general, you have like the many stages. I've probably got near the beginning, which is my nipples tend to puff up and I get a little bit of fatty tissue around the nipple bit when I'm higher body fat. But when I get leaner and start improving my diet, I'm more around the 16-15% body fat area. It almost clears up and the little clump goes. Whereas when I'm above like 20% body fat, I can feel the bump and I can visually see it more in my t-shirts. So this definitely is something that you can improve. But if you're someone that's at the far end of the scale where it's actually like almost like a actual boob, those are things that needs to either be surgically removed or your doctor will give you potential medication to help improve it. But for the vast majority of you out there, that won't be the case. But the problem is a lot of people run to thinking that because it sounds like a quicker option. It's more instant. If you can get an appointment and your doctor to remove it, it is more instant than you actually put in the work. However, this way is more safer and it's probably healthy for your body in general. So I would always recommend, even if you think it's the far end, you should still speak to your doctor, but I would still recommend and implement the things I've mentioned in the video because it will make it much easier when it comes to the time as well. But anyways, people, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, leave it a thumbs up and I'll see you guys in the next video.